Okay.
Good morning and thank you for coming to see my presentation. My name is Alexandria Kulg and I did my senior seminar project on the importance of women empowerment. I decided to do this project after doing my junior research paper on the glass ceiling. My research paper supported the idea that there is a barrier not allowing women to reach upper level workplaces. And then I decided for my senior project I would discover how women could break that barrier. And I decided that by doing that it would be self-empowerment. My thesis for my project was, society should be concerned with women empowerment because they are limiting themselves to subjective ideas and increasing the gender gap. And while I was additionally researching my project, I read the book Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg, who's the CEO of Facebook, and I found a quote that would perfectly describe what I wanted to do for my community connection. What would you do if you weren't afraid? Shortly after, I contacted Miss Dustin and we talked about going to Girls Inc., where women empowerment is their sole focus. On my first week there, I asked the girls, what would you do if you weren't afraid? And the girl up in the picture looked at me and said she wanted to be a fashion designer. After weeks of going over some ideas with them, Alexa comes up to me again and she goes, Alex, I don't want to be a model. And I looked at her and I go, okay, that's good because you want to be a fashion designer. And she looks at me and goes, but on all the TV shows, they're all guys that design the clothes. And it was really hard for me to understand that she actually understood this because she was only in 5th and 6th grade. And it was sad that she knew the reality of the world that she was going into. So I decided to do some extra research and teach the girls 3 things that they can do to stand out next to men. And I moved them down to 3 topics: self-confidence, raising your hands, and leaning in. The first subtopic I taught them was self-confidence. And I'm not talking about what you wear to school and how you look about yourself. That's more self-esteem. I'm talking about believing in the work that you do. And the idea that I'm going to use for you guys is internships. So you've been in college for 4 years and you did 2 internships. And you were really proud about them and you knew the work that you did was really good. And while you're waiting to go into your first job interview, you hear the person next to you say that they did 3. And now you're going to go in and you're not going to sell yourself to the person that's going to hire you. Because you no longer believe that you did the best work that you could. But what we're doing wrong is we're not selling ourselves like men do when we talk about ourselves. We explain ourselves in our actions that led us to what we are today. And that's where our problem lies. So the girls and I worked on selling ourselves, and to put it in terms that they would understand, we did pictures, because every kid says they're bad at drawing. So we all drew pictures for 1 whole day, and whoever said they were bad at drawing failed at the project. I mean, I didn't put it that way to them, that'd be really mean. So the whole day they drew pictures, they complimented the pictures, they explained why their picture was just as good as the person next to theirs, and they learned to really appreciate their own work. The second thing we do wrong is by not raising our hands. I'm not talking about in class when the teacher asks if you know what the answer is to number 16. I'm talking about when you're already in the workplace and somebody asks for an opinion and you know you have a really good opinion, but you feel like it's not what everyone else would agree with. So me and the girls ran, sorry, the picture's kind of blurry. Me and the girls ran a simulation. You can see them drawing the pictures. The very first day I asked them a question and they drew think bubbles of every idea that they came up with. And the following week I asked them the same question, but instead of doing think bubbles, they raised their hand. And whoever raised their hand was breaking the stereotype that women don't raise their hand. And whoever was proved that standing next to a man, we don't raise our hand. The third and last thing I talked about with the girls was pulling back when we should be leaning in. And a lot of these topics are the same, but they're a little different. So with the girls, when we finally make it up to upper suite levels and we're in the workforce, we tend to just lean back and we let everybody else take charge because we're kind of afraid to make mistakes once we get up there because we've worked so hard to get where we are. So I searched the number 1 leading cause that we're not comfortable with the people we're working with. And it says because you really don't know the person you're surrounded with. So me and the girls got to know each other because a lot of them went to the same school, but a good portion of them just came for the summer, so they didn't know each other. So what we did was we did group activities. Up in the picture, they're doing the human knot. We also did a field day the following week because the week we tried to do it, it rained. And they did They did a simulation before and after they worked together and after they worked together, and we got to see the improvement that they made when talking about their topics. What I took away from this project, I gained a lot of social skills. I did talk to all the VPs at Girls Inc., and I moved from counselor to counselor because I did work with the same grade, so I constantly had counselors rotating. And then I also talked to the girls every day for the whole entire program. I also took away hard work because not only was it hard just putting the project together and keeping the girls in a realm where they were still interested in my topic that was really hard for them to grasp, I also had to learn what was to come going into business, and it just shows what I have ahead of me. And then always push yourself, because if I had to leave you guys with one thing, I would ask you, what would you do if you weren't afraid? I would like to thank Ms. Dustin for being my mentor since Angel's no longer at the school district, and everyone at Girls Inc. Any questions? Thank you.
Nice job, Alex.